How's my hair? Quiet on the set. All right, so this is where we are right now. Frame is looking nice. Backing plates redone. Brake cylinder new. Got new bearings, new seals, grade A bolts. These were remade and popped on. We've got races installed. It's completely ready to start putting the pinion gear in and the carrier with the new, we went with 373s on here. Here's the frustrating part of hot rodding. Okay, so this is the new gear pinion. I ground these guys out. These are the old bearings, so I can set my pinion depth without, ruining the crush collar. So here's the yoke, as we all know, goes on here. Good. In the kit that I got with the carrier, they give you a brand new nut, so that's awesome. As you can see, it's a flanged nut. They did not send a washer for this. So, if I was to thread this on, it needs a washer, obviously. Why they wouldn't send it, I don't know. And then I thought, all right, well, I'll just reuse this one. All right, there's the damage. I was smacking this with a hammer to get this off. And then I was smacking it even more because as you're grinding these out, these bearings, so that they slip, you're putting it on and off. It's hot. You go to get it and it gets stuck right there. And I mean stuck, like don't even try to, pull it off. So I ordered a nut, a $12, or a washer rather, I'm sorry, a $12 washer. This is the 373 pinion gear. The one that we're using, the new one, it's already been mocked up. I just wanted to make this video to show a problem. And the problem has to do with these splines here. And the difference of these, which are a bit longer and they kind of go into the shaft where the bearing sits, because here's your outer bearing. Then your yoke goes on. Okay. Washer. No. So I get all that in. I want to tighten it down to 14 to 19 inch-pounds. And when the yoke bottoms out on the spline, on my initial, because it does, it'll bottom out on that shoulder there. I still had about a 1/16 of an inch of end play, the movement of the yoke and essentially the pinion. So couldn't get it out. Now this yoke, if we look at it, the grooves of the spline, we'll say, they are milled to slip down onto there, but it just wasn't enough. And I could not figure out why. So I looked at the old one. And if we look at the old one, if we do it side by side, you can see that they're longer. They kind of get let in here to the shaft. The cutting procedure with the two brands obviously is different. So, I wasn't sure if I could shim between this outer bearing here and this yoke. Because this outer bearing, it is actually, when it's in the race, it's pushed up. And then that's where, because you got a crush sleeve in here. So I just couldn't get end play out. So what I decided to do, I took the shims that I had from my adjustable, it's a crush sleeve eliminator. You shim it instead of crush it, and you can reuse it and reset it and trial and error and all that. So basically, I sent this schematic to the distributor I bought it off of, which was Ron's Machine Shop on eBay, and he was awesome. I've probably emailed, messaged 3 or 4 questions. He always gets right back to me, he or she. I always assume I'm talking to Ron, but probably not. But I asked him if I could add shims between the outer bearing and the yoke. He writes back, no problem. So that's what I did. I took about a 1/16 of an inch of shims from the crush sleeve eliminator kit, and I placed them right here on top. So basically it will go outer bearing, shims equaling a 1/16. I might add another one, just why not? Right there, yoke, and then when I bolt it all down, essentially all these shims are doing is either it's making the relief there of the spline just like a 1/16 deeper, essentially. It doesn't change any of the important measurements, which are from race to race inside the housing. And so that works. So if anyone runs into a problem with setting a pinion and you can't get end play out, that's where you shim them. On top of your outer bearing, just like that. And you should have no problem. Just be creative sometimes. Understand what measurements are important and which ones you can kind of play with, and you'll figure it out. And, contact the person that you bought it from. A lot of times these guys really know stuff. And if they do know stuff and they get back to you like Ron's Machine Shop on eBay did, then buy your parts from them. Support them. The rear end has been all rebuilt, painted, all new bearings, everything. So that's all done. That was a long one, I know. So I'm going to flip this around. I still have some bushings to put in the rear end for the upper control arms. So we'll start there. All right, that's kind of the look of it. It looks pretty killer. Aftermarket cover, little detail there. But I didn't use the bolts that came with the cover. I thought these black ones would look better. And then Steve was like, yeah, why don't we get some stainless steel washers just for like a little bit of bling. And I think he nailed it. I think it's killer. All right, so all I have to do is install these bushings so I can put the upper control arms on. However, I have a tool for upper control arm bushings. You can rent these at Advanced Auto or any of those big stores. This cap is really, it doesn't sleeve over the rubber section. The diameter is too small for the rear end bushings. So if you have this tool and you think you're gonna use it, you're not. But have no fear, because I did most of the work before I bought that tool on the front end. So I have 1/2-inch bolt, metal plate, pipe. So we'll take this contraption, this pipe, the ID will sleeve right over the rubber and onto the collar of the bushing, which is where you want to put the pressure. Then I went to the shop, I cut another pipe, and I realized, wait a minute, that looks exactly the same exact size as a race for the bearings that I used rebuilding the pinion. So this I like much more. It has a lot more surface area, it will be easier on the paint. And it didn't mark it at all. So this provides a little pocket for the end of the bushing to run through, because otherwise it would bind out. This plate goes on here. You take a nut, put the nut on, impact, all good. The problem, this side went fine. There is an issue, however. When we come over to this one, the 12-bolt axle, the carrier, it's different than a 10-bolt because the gear is bigger. The gear is on this side, so you can see the room issues. So when I go to put this race and plate, it doesn't go, it hits on the case. So I think it'll all still work. I just need to grab this race to fit in to the contour of the carrier, and the bolt will clear. I think everything will be fine. So I was getting fancy scribing it into the side of the carrier, and then I realized the beauty of using an old race is how thick the sidewall is. So I could just cut the part out and it's still plenty strong. All right, so there it is, bushings in. You know, if you don't know, if you've never done it before, there's a little shoulder here. So you just drive it home till it stops moving. So they're both in. This is the contraption all set up. So you have 1/2-inch bolt, 6 inches long, a pipe that goes to the metal part of the bushing. This is a piece of 1/4-inch steel. These are just washers because eventually I ran out of thread on the bolt. That's all that is. So if this had more thread, you wouldn't need these, but if you ever run out of thread, you can always just washer that side, obviously. This is the race that we cut into a C shape. Fits on very nice. Another 1/4-inch plate, 1/2-inch nut. And that will push them in for sure. Pretty simple. So now it's all ready. We will start dropping in A-arms. Amazing. Springs, shocks. So at the end of this, we will have the rear end installed and suspension done. So the brakes will be done, suspension done. I'm gonna run the brake lines, and then we will put in the motor and transmission in this video, but probably next weekend. Hopefully Steve can come over, and at that point we wrap it in plastic and push it into a corner and start doing body work. Real quick, sometimes when you're working without the body on here, you have to get a little creative. There was enough travel in the rear end, putting this shock in, that I could just jack it up on the one side and it would pivot. But then the second side, I just kept jacking up and there's no weight on the frame, so the whole frame would just lift up. Once it took more force than what the frame weighed to compress the spring, that stopped compressing. So sometimes you just have to get creative. I ratchet strapped it at first. I put a ratchet strap around here. It was a lot of force, so I just kind of put a 2x4 up to the wall. And I was able to just pop it right on. So this is never seen anyway, but I still use the, the little pad there. So just a little tip, you will run into this. Same thing happened in the front end. Having no weight is kind of tough.
Hey Pop, where's the wheel?
All right, Cora, what are we doing here?
We are going to put another wheel on.
All right, so here's what you got to do. See those holes right here in the wheel? Those circles?
Yeah.
These little ones?
Yeah.
They go on there. Oh, I gotta take these off. Okay. So I gotta jack it up a little bit.
I haven't done it in a YouTube video in a while.
I know, tell everybody you missed them.
Yeah.
All right, ready? So I'm gonna jack this up just a little bit.
I remember when we did a wheel together.
Yeah. I've done a lot of stuff here.
We've made a lot of stuff here.
All right, so now,
It's really fun.
hop off of there.
Okay.
All right, come here. This is how you put a wheel on. You sit right down here. You sit right here. Put your legs out. All right. Wow, you got so much hair. I can't see. All right, so now, you see, hold on, back up. You see these little studs right here?
Yeah.
Your hair is just all over the place.
I know, this is why I can't see.
I know. See, look through there. See that stud?
That metal thing?
Yep. Oop. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, kiss them later. Now, you see how I'm turning it like the same way the clock goes?
Yeah.
It's called clockwise.
Yeah.
So you turn that one all the way down. I'll start the next one.
This is hard.
It's not hard.
Kind
They're
of.
perfect threads. I've made sure of that. Hey, where did you steal the other ones? Put your arms up. What did you do with? Where's the other lug nut? Is it in your boot?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. We got extra. Keep turning, keep turning those, and then we'll use the big tool. Turn them, girl. Turn.
I'm turning them.
No, it sounds like you're not. See this trigger?
Mm-hmm.
You hit this button that way. Hit the trigger. Okay? I'll tell you, hit the trigger. Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, God. That's it. That's all there is to it.